110 days. That's exactly how much time stands between us and our first frost of the season. Now, I say first frost and not the end of the season for a reason. While everyone is currently basking in the tomato harvest, the peppers, onions, garlic, all that harvesting, the smartest gardeners are already playing the long game for October and possibly in November. July is the pipit month. We still can plant some crops now, but if you wait too long for cooler weather, you're going to be hurting for your fall garden. Now is the time to get that fall garden started. Hey everybody, welcome back to the grow room. We're empty back here, but the lights are still on, meaning we are still going to be growing some things. Now, I am down in the grow room. This video is not going to all be about things that you can grow for the fall garden. We're going to also cover some things that you could put direct sow as well. But you got to definitely start thinking about your fall garden. This is the time of year that you need to do that. But first, let's go through some things that we can grow right now here in Zone 6B, Central Illinois in July. Let's get started here real quick. The first thing I'm going to tell you that you can grow are green beans. You can get some good bush varieties in there. You can probably find some pole varieties that are able to germinate rather quickly and grow rather quickly as well as produce quickly. Like I said, we got 110 days. So with those pole varieties, you want to check the back of the seed packet to make sure you still have some time on there. You want to leave more than 100 days or so left so you still get a harvest. But bush beans, usually those about 50 to 60 days out. So you should be able to still get a good harvest with those. Cucumbers and summer squash, like zucchini. These things thrive in the middle of the summer. Matter of fact, I believe that if we get the zucchini in, we're not going to have near the squash bug pressure as we normally would do if we got it in this time of year, because the squash bugs should be over their breeding cycle by now, I hope. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I've never planted them this late, but we're going to try to get some of those in. I'm also going to try some red curry squash. I know I'm going to be pushing the limit on that, and possibly some butternut squash as well. Pushing the limit is what I like to do, but we'll see. I'm talking about pushing the limit with some of these crops. You don't want to push the limit too much because you're going to be waiting all that 110 days, and then poof, a frost comes. You don't have any way to cover it or protect your plants. You're just flat out of luck. You wasted all that time, all that energy that you spent on these crops. So keep that in mind. We're reaching that point in the year where we're going to have to start thinking about that. But most of these guys, you still should be able to get a harvest in and still be able to have them thrive throughout the summer and not have any problem at all. Okra is going to be another one that you can still plant. These okras, they absolutely love the heat. Matter of fact, I wouldn't get your okra out until the heat starts. But usually okra, you can get them out and still get a good harvest of okra if you plant them right about now. Let's move on to some flowers. Certain sunflowers, zinnias, they all will still be able to be grown and still be able to flower yet this time of year. I'm going to be planting some calendulas as well. Those tend to like the cooler weather as well, but we're going to be planting those. Next, we'll move on to some herbs. Basil. You can plant your cilantro, although the cilantro likes it a little bit cooler. I think that's going to be part of the fall garden. But the basil absolutely loves the heat. Get your basil in the ground now. You'll be blessed with a bunch of basil harvest more towards the late summer time. Any of the crops that you can shoot for that are less than 110 days, cumin is probably not going to be a good one as an example of that. Like I said, the cilantro, that's more of a cool weather crop. We're going to wait on that as well. We're going to wait to plant that. We still have time to plant that one. We're just going to simply wait on that one. Let's move on to root crops. A couple of good root crops that you can get in the ground right now would be carrots and beets. Both of these can withstand the summer heat. They will do well. Just going to be a little tricky to get those carrot seeds germinated. Just got to make sure that you keep them wet. So if you have a way to use the cardboard method, the board method, we put down a cover over the seeds for a couple weeks to keep them wet so they germinate. That's gonna be a key pivot there. If those carrot seeds take forever to germinate, so if they do dry out, you're not gonna have a very good germination rate. So keep that in mind with this as well. Now, let's move on to talking about the fall garden. This is the time of year that we want to start that fall garden. We are currently 110 days away from 110 day-ish, I should say, away from our first frost date. That first frost date for me usually is around October 15th. So we're kind of in that zone where we got to kind of pay attention to maturity dates and everything else. So the way you want to do your fall garden is you want to figure out when your first frost date is. Usually you can go out to almanac.com and get that, or you can just simply Google first frost date by zip code. That's going to be your best bet. Go out to Google, find that date, and once you have that date, see how many days you have from today's date till that date that you just found. And that's going to be your window. And you can simply, you don't have to go on a calendar and even count. You can simply just ask Google to do that for you. You can just go through and type in Google, how many days until October 15th? And it will simply tell you, bam, 110 days. There you go. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to read the back of your seed packages. On the back of seed packages, you will see the days to maturity usually. If it's not on the last of the seed, the back of the seed packet, again, go out to Google. You should be able to find that pretty simple. Once you find that days to maturity that's on the back of the seed packet, what you want to do is add about 2 weeks. Give yourself a buffer, because as the days get longer, things tend to sort of creep along a little bit slower. So you want to add about 2 weeks onto that days to maturity. If you want to make it at 10 days, you can do that as well, or 15 days, you can do that as well. So for example, something that's going to take 80 days to be maturity, you want to give yourself probably 95 days. That gives you an extra 15 days. That'll give you how far out you can start planting these things. Another thing that we're going to do with our fall garden is there's going to be a number of things that we are going to plant inside in the grow room back here. Matter of fact, I'm going to start getting things ready, getting things prepped, so I can simply go ahead and plant those things. A few of those things that we're going to go ahead and do are going to be our broccolis, our cabbages, our Brussels sprouts. If you like any kohlrabi, or if you like your cauliflower, things like brassicas like that, you can go ahead and get those started. Typically, the ones that I'll probably start first are going to be the Brussels sprouts. They seem to take the longest, and then get the broccoli going, the cabbages going as well. The cabbages, I do know, will handle a frost. Same with the Brussels sprouts. So if you're thinking about putting up row covers or leaving them out in a frost a little bit, those plants will be fine as well. So why are we starting these indoors? We're going to start these indoors just for the simple fact that it is going to be way too hot outside. Have you heard we're going to have a super El Nino this year? We got a double heat dome coming down upon us actually this next week. So you want to make sure that you're trying to keep these guys and start these guys kind of in a cool weather place. Right now here in my basement, it is probably, to be honest with you, my basement's probably in the 60s right now, which is really extremely nice this time of year. But these plants are also going to think this is going to be extremely nice as well. We're going to be able to start these guys on the grow shelves. We're going to treat it just like it's going to be spring. Once we get to the point where we want to take them outside so we can start hardening them off, and then we're going to bring them outside. After we get them fully hardened off, we're going to bring them outside, put them into the garden. As a matter of fact, last year I had to wait a little bit to put them in the garden because we did have a couple, in the 10-day forecasts, we had a couple really, really hot heat stints that we were going to try to avoid in there. So I waited and played along with that a little bit as well. Now, you are going to be putting yourself out a little bit of a gamble here. You want to make sure you get them out in time so that they will grow and pop and do what they need to do to produce the fruits and the vegetables that you need them to produce. So keep that in mind also when you're kind of planning this out a little bit as well. The next thing that you're going to want to work on planting are probably going to be your leafy greens. Now these aren't going to take near as long as the brassicas, so these can wait a little bit to get planted. Maybe plant these towards the end of the month, middle to end of the month, and you'll be fine. If you get some of those in there, and you could probably succession plant some of these as well, so that way you got a succession of stuff and you're not having all these leafy greens come up at once. Now a lot of these leafy greens, like your spinach, your arugula, your lettuce, your chard, your Swiss chard, all that stuff, you guys can go ahead and get those seed packets bought, get them ready, get your little planters ready, start those. You can also start those inside so they get ready to take off, and then bring them outside as the weather tends to get cooler. Now the fall garden is just not all about planting crops down here in the grow room in the basement. I will be going out and direct sowing some crops for a good fall harvest and possibly even into a winter harvest a little bit. A lot of these are going to be your root crops, like your turnips, some beets, some carrots. You can have all those, put those in the ground. You might be looking at a little bit forward into August before you plant these to get them in the ground. But if you plant those in the ground, and I tell you what, you plant your carrots in the ground, you will thank me if you're harvesting them. One year I harvested carrots around December. I let them sit in the ground up until December. I had a fantastic harvest. I was right around Christmas time. I was canning carrots. Never thought that would happen. Let alone these carrots were so sweet because they got a good frost on them. And I was able to, basically when they get a good frost on them, those root vegetables tend to sweeten up a little bit because of all the starches. So they will tend to sweeten up. And oh man, they were probably the best carrots that I have ever grown. So hopefully this year will be the same as that one year that I was able to get some lucky Christmas time carrots. We'll see how well this works. So a couple pro tips for starting these plants for your fall or winter gardens. One, make sure that you got a good setup. Make sure you got plenty of light. If you're putting them in a windowsill, that's fine. Put them in a south-facing windowsill, but make sure those plants are getting enough light. If you're not starting them inside, you can start some of these outside, but if it's cool enough. But if you are starting some of these outside, July is hot. Make sure you're checking the little seedling cups. Those seedling cups can dry out extremely fast this time of year. Make sure you check them twice a day if you can to make sure they got water. Skipping a day is going to be absolutely a no-no. You want to make sure that you get it. If you're going to have them outside, you want to check them at least once a day, probably twice a day if you can. And also, like I said, hardening them off is going to be crucial. You got to still take that step. I know it's not going to be cold and windy like it was back in March, April, when we put the other brassicas out there, but you got to make sure these things are ready for the real world, especially if you're taking them out of this pampered little place that we have back here. You want to make sure you harden them off properly. Go Google some videos on that. Go check out my hardening off video if you need to. So folks, I challenge you to not let your beds go empty this fall. I tell you, if you want to go ahead and start that fall garden, you'll be blessed with one, reduced pests, another joy of another harvest. You'll be also blessed with maybe hopefully harvesting in some cooler weather, and you're just spreading the love. I challenge everybody out there to go ahead and start that fall garden, even if it's one broccoli plant, one cabbage plant, one row of carrots. Go ahead and do that. You'll be definitely impressed with yourself, and you'll be wanting to do this from every year out. If you like the content here, make sure you hit that like button, click that subscribe button, click that hype button if you really think I'm hyped or crazy. Go ahead and click that button a couple times. Leave me a comment down below. Nothing else makes me smile better than if you would leave me a comment down below. Let's have a little conversation. I know there are several of you out there I do have conversations with on a regular basis because of that, and I appreciate you. Cheers, everybody. God bless. Let's get to planting.